Miami, 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 Miami. It feel like Miami.
Welcome to the MHB Postgame Show. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas. With me today should be Moose, but he's not here. But it's even better because we got Siobhan, we got Tiff, Heat win, Kyle was good again, Tyler hit some shots, Mechanic opened the shop, kind of, I guess, whatever. We look good, guys. Listen, Eric Reed said it, Vengeance Week. I'm rocking the BAM jersey because my man was also good today. Bond, Tiff. So many positive things tonight without Jimmy in the game. Jimmy, we've talked a lot about when Jimmy's not there, we're kind of worried. Tiff, I know you always say Cape has to come on. Let's start with Bam, then we'll go to Lowry and then Tyler and kind of go through, the kind of the impacts of the game. Tiff, but I thought Bam tonight, did what he had to do, stepped up. Active as a roller, active, off the ball. The defense always speaks for itself. He was fantastic today.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as me and Shy like to say, he did what needed to be done. That's it. Bam has this uncanny way of plugging the holes on this team. Sometimes does it bite us in the ass? Yes. Because you might need him to do too much. And tonight, he literally, could he have done more? Yes. But I like the way that he played tonight. He really tried to help guys out on defense. He tried to do just enough on offense. He saw like Kyle had it cooking, so he didn't get in the way. He wasn't trying to force his own offense because he saw somebody else had it cooking. I like the way he looked tonight. I like that he took a step back on offense because he saw somebody else had it going. But him taking a step back on offense, he still was able to get out and switch, help on defense, try to help the guys with the boards, set screens. Like he did all the little things tonight that nobody's going to notice because it's not in the box score.
Bond, let's talk about the Bam Kyle pick and roll as a good transition. I thought late in the Warrior game, really, really late in that third quarter, I thought they found a bit of a groove with Jimmy off the floor. I think Max and Duncan, Gabe, even though Gabe has been struggling a little bit, is still a respected shooter in the league, is kind of keeping a guy with him, opens up the game for them. Bam being, I think, aggressive going downhill, even when he knows he's not getting the ball. I thought that's huge, and I thought that really translated well to today when Kyle had it cooking and Bam as a roller. Sabonis is too slow. They had no answer. 20 and 10, 6 assists. We'll get into the playmaking after this, but, just sensational in that role.
Yeah, to this point about Bam going to boards, first game against the Kings, 6 rebounds tonight, 11. Things that matter. But yeah, he and Kyle synergy in the pick and roll, and really he and Tyler synergy in the pick and roll. What you said is what it is. Rolling hard or rolling in the way that sucks people in, that warrants attention, even when you're not getting it. It's not always about you as the roller being the receiver of the pass. It's the gravity that you suck in. It's the respect that you make them pull to you so that we can kick open and have some other stuff open. I thought they look really good. And to your point about him, it's like you can see where he stepped back a little bit, but kind of midway through the third, when it was kind of time to get going, you could also see when his energy picked back up and was like, okay, let's step on it a bit. This is my time to reassert some too. He and Kyle look really good together. As long as Kyle puts it in a good place for him, he's gonna go get it. Sometimes Kyle just be flinging that shit.
My man's wild. What do you want?
Yo, he had a suicide pass tonight where it was so high he just wanted to kill himself.
And he gonna try to do it.
Are you talking about the lob that Bam had to get with his? Yeah. That was funny.
Yeah, no, they look good, and like I said, rolling hard when even you're not getting it. it still opens up stuff for everybody else.
Yo, shout out to Smiley TK3 for the tier 1. Appreciate it. Orzo in chat said Kings got their oil change tonight. In response to the mechanic, I imagine, who we're going to get into Deadman a little later. Tiff, last thing on Bam before we transition. I thought the playmaking, he was back to what I think we expect. And part of that is Jimmy's not in the game. One fewer ball handler. Bam was in that elbow spot that he likes, and Spo offenses really from Chris Bosh on. Love bigs in the elbow spots. Guys were moving. Tiff, we talk about this so much, how dudes are stagnant. And I think with this, kind of unit, a lot of active bodies cutting, letting Bam get to guys. Their shooters were playing well, getting downhill. I thought the playmaking was really sensational for him tonight.
It's funny because and I don't know if you guys will understand when I say this, but his playmaking, it opens it up for other people to playmate. For instance, he came down once and he made a nice play. Actually, I think might have been to Caleb, but with that, the defense kind of laid off him a little bit. It was the next possession down or something. And he was able to do a quick give and go with Max because he had that open space, because they didn't know if he was going to pass it, if he was going to shoot it. His passing makes him aggressive. And I don't know if you guys understand what I mean by that. Shai, do you know what I'm saying about that? Because sometimes it's we want Bam to shoot. But that passing it makes other people aggressive because he can get shots for other people. Because he might not be the best shooter, but if you watch tonight, he is a respected shooter. They're going to guard him.
That mid-range is the fuck solid all this season.
It's wet. Yes. Yeah. And they're going to guard him and they're going to play him for it. And this is why I always say, we need constant motion, because the lanes are there when we have the shooters on the court.
Yeah.
We were able to get Kyle back door. Gabe went back door. Caleb went back door for the dunk. Max went back door a couple of times. It's there.
Yeah.
It's right there for the taking.
I thought Max, Duncan, our guards were screening really well for our other players to kind of get in the paint and curl. I know Max set a really nice screen for Tyler, and they just bond. They're doing. I think the Warrior game was a good precursor, because I was really hey, Jimmy iced it. Their bench mob did their stuff, and I thought they figured a couple things out. And I thought this game was kind of an application of, let's get back to basics. Let's do Miami Heat basketball stuff. Move, cut, play hard, be active, and surround our guys and everybody contributed.
Let's get back to some of Miami Heat tenets, but better, and adding other things around it. To the point about Bam's playmaking and the motion and getting back to what we do, I think that's some of the frustration. I think where you saw in the last year, the year before, whichever year was the year of the DHO, it's we were getting a lot of stuff off of that, but we weren't getting anything else on the other side. We weren't getting any emotion. So being able to have those two effective people in the DHO and surrounded with other movement, and Duncan he's out here splitting pick and rolls. Who do you think you are? And so getting back to some of the things that we know work well for us, but then adding other things to it and really opening up guys in their individual skill sets, opening up other things. And we've been talking about screening a little bit. We talked in the chat, and over the last couple of games, I was watching the Kings game, the first one and the first Warriors game. We didn't do a good job screening. The guards didn't. Jimmy wasn't. He was just kind of just getting there, and no one was actually putting the body on.
Sorry to cut you off. I think Jimmy looked like he wanted to pop for three more than he was interested in
was rolling. Actually trying to. Yep, exactly. Gabe has really good stance and position on his screening. And I think all the guards did, and Frankie talks about it a lot. If we can get some of that screening for Bam, turning the corner, going downhill, and now you're either going to get out of his way because he didn't dunk on you. That little push shot is there. Guys cutting from opposite 45 to the baseline. You just have so many things. And so I like what you said, taking some of the stuff that some stuff that we know works, adding other things, doing those things better, and maybe we can still continue to apply screen setting in other kind of different or more creative ways. traditional and some more like the guard to
Absolutely.
guard and some guard to big stuff.
I think
Right.
Kyle's good for the guard to guard stuff because he's like a bigger guy. So
I'm wanting to see Kyle do some of the guard to big stuff. Let Kyle and Gabe and like Max, let them all of them let them screen for band. Just get him
Yeah.
going.
absolutely. Last thing, 27 assists tonight for the Heat. If that were their average for the regular season, that would put them in the top 10 at 8. They're currently 14th. So more of that ball movement, and to Bond's point as well, the guard screening. I thought yesterday, the not big to small, I guess wing to small. I thought Gabe yesterday really was tough. He was the guy that was screening for Jimmy every time down the stretch, whether it was Poole or Curry to get them into action, and it was to let Jimmy go to work. We saw how he iced the game. And he's shooting well, so he's kind of drawing defenders. So shout out to Gabe for being tough, and the guards for kind of really yesterday. I know you love your man. I got to give him a shout.
I do. I need him. I love that everyone has an appreciation for the other things that he does now. But now I'm like on the main, like not the main thing, the big thing. I need some shots falling, but we're still doing everything else.
And that's improvement. We're holding him to higher standards. Speaking of higher standards, shout out to Vane Hype for the tier 1 sub to Malik Monk. Tiff, my boy tonight. I didn't want to open the show. I didn't want to seem biased. My boy tonight, he was great. 22 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 57% shooting. Really, I thought got him in gear a lot. I know that he struggled shooting the 3 at the end, but he started off really hot. Kind of finished 2 for 7. I like that he's getting them up. I think that's important. I thought the way he screened, cut, moved, got out of guys' ways when he realized that he wasn't the hot hand anymore, which I think is one of his strengths. Tiff, I think, we talked about this on Hangover Time with Ethan yesterday. I know somebody earlier, Sager in chat said, I'm convinced Kyle watched Ethan versus G on Hangover Time yesterday. This is him on the second night of a back-to-back, and this is the guy that they need. I don't think they need him. I don't even think they need the 22 points every night. Some they will, some they won't. But I think they need the kind of activity, the getting to the rim, which he got to the rim. We talked yesterday with Ethan. He doesn't look like he can turn the corner. And on the second night of a back-to-back, he looks like he could. And sometimes against Kevin Huerter, who's not a bad defender, and not that the Kings are an all-defensive team like the Warriors or anything, but I think this is such a positive building block for him. And it sucks that we have to talk about him that way, but I just think that we need to start stacking W's on top of each other.
That part.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, no, he's not going to give you 20-something every night. Like, let's calm down, people. Everybody's like, why can't he do this every night? Because he can't do this every night. Let's be realistic. Right. Like, let's be realistic. Like, take it where you can get it. And we needed it tonight, and he gave it to us. But I think one of the things that, like, for me, what stood out about how he maneuvered on the floor, it's the spacing. Like when there's just him, Bam, Tyler, and then whoever else, there's not enough space on the floor. Like be realistic about it. The turnaround jumper that he got, I think it was over Sabonis at the end almost.
Yeah.
That's because there was space on the floor to get the shot off. For him to like maneuver, get to his spot without people being in his way. He had the shooter spread wide. So either I'm going to shoot it, or I got Duncan over here, Max over here, or I think it might have been Max and Tyler in the game. So at least he had people wide. You had Bam dropping low. So I think that like he can get to certain spots on the floor, but he needs room.
Yeah. And you know what else the spacing does for you? Not even just for you as the shooter, being able to get yourself and the ball in space. It gives space around you so that you can do a change of direction move and create space from the defender. Like if it's too crowded around you, that means there's nowhere for your defender to be like shook into, because there's no space for him to fall back into. So that specific play, the turnaround with the long step, he was able to kind of get so much space off of DeMontis because there was so much space around the two of them for DeMontis to kind of like fall back into.
Yeah.
I thought, I think the pace they play out with him is really good, and I agree with everything about the spacing, but I'm not worried about that because I do think if Jimmy, underratedly, Jimmy as a shooter, 39% from 3 this year. Don't know how sustainable that is. 39, but He has to keep shooting, and
He
it
just has
seems
to keep-
he's not
Whether
scared.
it goes up or down.
No, that's
Exactly.
it. He has to be willing, and I
Yep.
think it's sustainable.
And if he's gonna, at least hover around maybe 37%, even if he's at 35%, I think.
I was gonna say 35.
I mean, because
Yeah.
bro, 23, 25, 24, the last couple of years. If he's like legit, like he can make these, like Dwayne, like how Dwayne was. Not that Dwayne was a dead eye shooter, but like you gonna leave Dwayne wide open at the end of a game? You know what I mean? Like he ain't
Right.
Westbrook. So I think that's gonna help Kyle. I think the fact that they had multiple guys that could handle the ball. Kyle can inbound knowing that, okay, I got Tyler who can handle, and then when Jimmy's in the game, you have multiple options, and Bam as well, good decision makers. I think he's kind of coming into form, into kind of.
Yeah.
I don't think the first couple games, the first game was truly horrid against the Bulls, and then the second Raptor game, I thought he was really, really bad, and I thought the other ones it was passable, but again, like we can't talk about him like, okay, we cannot make excuses and say he was passable. I think he needs to be good more than he is not good. And I think he's put together more than enough games, I think, of good play to hopefully ease people. And I understand that, like, you have a lot of cap invested in this guy. You need him to be good. If not, you're not going anywhere, because the decision was made and he's the guy that you have and he's supposed to be your floor raiser. And I thought tonight, when your best player, when your Hall of Famer, when you're fucking drag you by the neck to within a shot of the finals or in the finals, play LeBron to a push, when that guy, arguably top 10 in the world when he's at his best, is out, Kyle, I think, picks up a lot of slack and the playmaking, the leadership. I was at the game yesterday, and shout out to Christian Hernandez who gave me tickets, and Christian has good seats. You can see and hear like the communication. That guy is always talking. Bam too. They're always talking. And I think that matters. And for as veteran as this team is, they got a lot of young guys, Gabe, Max is 26, but he's still kind of new in the league, all these guys. So, Tyler, of course, even though he's in third year, still developing young player who's improving. So I think that is all like really, really critical. And I'm just happy for our man, getting it tonight. Last thing I'll say, Bon, I want to go to you first and then Tiff on this. Finishing at the rim, these are not with tonight's numbers. Dunks and threes has him at 55% at the rim in the 20th percentile. Not good. How does that – I thought tonight he was better. I know he gassed a layup in the fourth, but I thought generally he looked good. I think – do you see that continuing to improve?
And so I think that it can. I think his takeoff spot has to be different. Sometimes he's getting himself too deep to where he's probably not going to finish. And yesterday when you and Ethan were going back and forth a little bit, I disagree a little with Ethan in that, and I agree with you a little bit in that he's still, however he's doing it, you're stupid. Whether it's keeping guys on his back, he still has a really respectable first step for the most part.
Right.
I think once the initial boost, he's around the corner or he's got someone behind him. It's what he does after that part. And so sometimes, like I said, he's getting a little too deep trying to finish. I want him to take off differently, I guess, but I also want everyone else around him to present themselves in a way so that he can make that kick out. Mm-hmm. Like the one that he drove in and got out to Max. Maybe he could have gone up. Maybe he could have forced something out with the left hand, but
right.
To not. But Max also to be in his vision to where it was able to get. Tyler was in the corner and knew that wasn't his pass. He was like, Max up here. And so I think some of it has to be decision making on his end, but some of it also has to be them giving him outs in the event that he does get in there and get kind of hung. I want him to do something. I want Tyler to work with him or something like that. Like, I feel like he has a lot of spots where he can give me like a little bit of a floater, a little bit of a runner, and not have to rely on getting all the way to the backboard and the rim, but just getting around enough and then keeping people behind you and just give me a little shot put over the rim. But I think he'll be okay. It's better decisions once we get in the box in the restricted area. Yeah,
Tiff, chat's Forrest Pulp accurately says Kyle shot a career high on 2-pointers. he was 63% at the rim last year, which was a career. It was tied for a career high with the year prior. So kind of funny, but he's really good, and I think that he'll continue to improve. I'm sorry, 69%. Excuse me. He's at 69% last year, which was a career high by a lot. That's crazy.
Right.
That's a crazy number for a guard.
Is that on the same or equal like volume or like number of attempts?
That I don't
That
know.
would be the part that I had.
I imagine it's on fewer attempts because the previous years he was in Toronto and kind of the main juice to their offense, other than the Kawhi year. But yeah.
No, I think I agree with Shy, but I also think like sparingly. We don't want him just driving to the basket 60 times a game.
Exactly.
At this point, like we said, he's old now. So we want him to pick his spots. When he sees it's there, take it.
When he's got the shot
force it because you do have exactly. Then go ahead. But like you can't. The thing is, like I said earlier, like tonight was a very good game by him that we needed. We don't need him to have to come out and have to force 1,000 shots just to get 20 points. We want him to play within the flow of the offense just like everybody else. Yeah. So if he comes out the next game and we win and he gives us 12 and 8, guess what?
That's the Kyle we want. That's the Kyle Lowry.
That's what we want. Like, you don't want him having, and the other thing is too, like, you want him to preserve his body. He goes to the hole with reckless abandon. He's throwing himself into people, throwing himself on the floor. We can't do that every day.
He like rolls his like feet. It's like Dwayne, but Dwayne was better because Dwayne, cushioned his fall. Kyle was just like fucking flying in. Oh, like damn.
Dwayne,
he got more. Yeah, Kyle got more cushion, but
Dwayne used it better. Dwayne, it was like a turtle on its back. Really, it was artful.
Listen,
it's beautiful.
Just one last thing on him. I'm happy for him.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. I'm happy for me because I didn't want to have to wake up in the morning and read all the tweets.
I'm sick of it.
Like,
I'm fighting for my life for him.
You putting up a valiant ass fight.
G been fighting for his life for 2 seasons.
Ride or die.
Texting him. You know how sad it is when I gotta come out here and be like, we had a bad game, but guys, come on. It's like the person when like their partner like does some bad shit for the 10th time. They're like, no, but honestly, he's not so bad. I just only tell you about the bad stuff.
I know y'all don't know him like I know him.
You don't see the sides of him.
He called my mama a hoe and keyed my car 6 times, but I love him. Like, give him a chance.
That's Hassan. No, that was Hassan fans.
Oh, damn.
I love Hassan. Listen, I love Hassan. He was very nice in the locker room. Let's get into Tyler, guys, because my man hit the biggest shot of the game. He's had a rough season, particularly his stuff with Kyle. The lineup data I tweeted earlier, it's just abysmal. I think he and Kyle like have no good lineup combination, and they're better us apart. Like Kyle's like +9 per 100 possessions without Tyler, and Tyler's they're like -12 together. It was bad. It's bad. But Tyler, listen, put it together. Got to the rim a lot. Got to his spots. I think was super decisive, Siobhan. I thought the pull-up game was confident. I thought he played with purpose. I think part of it might just be because more of the offense ran through him, and there was less of a ball to share. And I think that he knew his role. Like, okay, I gotta score tonight, and the ball's coming to me. I'm gonna score. But credit to him because they needed him to shoot well. He did. I thought he was decisive, smart, and played, as you said earlier, the pick and roll with Bam was good. The cutting, very active, even if he wasn't getting the ball. I loved everything I saw from him tonight, and when it counted, there's nothing to say. Made the bucket,
The decisiveness. I think some of the frustration with him, or at least for myself, comes when it's like the air sometimes feels like it begins to be like a balloon with a slow leak. The more he pounds it, or like the more he kind of dribbles in place and isn't really getting anywhere with it. It's like maybe some of his ancientest builds at the time, but then it's like the rest of the offense like slowly deflates with kind of every tween cross behind that we're not getting any north south or even east west sometimes actual movement happening. But to that, I like what you said about him being decisive, and especially in the mid range, in the intermediate, quick, good jab, one dribble pull up, and his pull up is so nice, it's so silky, it's so he's so able to get to it that I think that's why like all of that gets frustrating for me because you kind of don't really have to do it. And I know a lot of it is rhythm dribbling. It's like gearing yourself up to actually make the thing, like make the move to propel you forward. But he doesn't need that a lot of times. I'm sure a lot of it was a function of knowing. He knows that they need him to score every night, but knowing that Jimmy's out, maybe a little more relaxed in that knowing, and whatever the comments and the chirps have been over the last couple of days between Kyle and Spo's comments, however you want to interpret that. So some of hearing that, but then also knowing, okay, they do need me to score tonight, even though I did hear this, maybe I can blend kind of whatever my changed mindset was going to be from that with still knowing that they do need me. So let me just go about it in just a real kind of calm and efficient, not so much wasted movement type of way, wasted energies type of way. And he looked really good.
Yeah. Tiff,
they need that from him.
Yeah,
they do. Tiff, how you feel about those 12 rebounds? Because I feel like that he's always active there, but I feel like that is as big a thing, especially with the way the season has gone.
Yeah. I look at that more than I look at the points. Like I look at the rebounds because we ain't got nobody. So who has the ability to kind of step up? He has such an innate ability to like know where the ball is at all times. I think that's like something that's very underrated about him. Like he knows where the rebounds are. He knows when the shot goes up, he knows where the ball is going to bounce because he's always in the right position. And no, he doesn't have long arms or anything like that, but he's always able to snake his body in front of somebody. That's the one thing that I think is so underrated about him, that he has the ability to say, okay, the ball's going here, and he does it without fouling. He gets in there, he gets people on his back, and he gets the ball. And let's be honest, a lot of times he's under there, he's pushing, he's shoving, but he's doing it in such a sneaky way that like he can get these boards. We need help on the boards. Like you need the guards in there. Bam can't do it by himself. So you need 8 by him. You need 4 by somebody else. You need 5 by somebody else. Like this is how they're going to have to play until they don't have to play like this anymore. I think that if him and Kyle can figure out how to lessen the blow of what did you say it was? A -12 or
bad minus a lot.
Okay. Okay. So if they can figure out how to lessen that blow, we'll start to look a lot better than we've even looked these last 2 days. Yeah. But that's something that it's not going to happen just sitting there. They're going to have to play it out, and it might get a lot uglier before it gets prettier. Which is what it is.
It is. That's well said. Bon, did you have anything? I wanted to switch gears real quick, but did you want to add anything to that?
No, what you said at the end, if the two of them can figure out how to make their minutes work, and I don't know if it's more of either one of them off the ball more, or like if Kyle's kicking it to him, be decisive again in what it is you're doing, move it yourself, or go ahead and go directly into your bag without giving me, a bunch of stuff in like not going anywhere. I'm happy from what I saw from him, and I hope it continues. I want to see what he looks like, when Jimmy comes back, and where his mentality is reintegrated with the fullness of what is the starting lineup. And last thing about his rebounding, I think some of that comes from one, he wants to rebound, but two, as an offensive player, you have an idea of like when your own shots are off, and so you have an understanding of when other people are shooting different angles, what side of the floor is probably going to bounce over here. Like you have a kind of an anticipation on just how the ball bounces off the rim, being someone who has it in their hand a lot, I think.
Absolutely. They won the turnover battle, which I think is huge as well. Which they did against the Kings as well. I think they turned the ball over 8 times and still lost the game. They need to, they won the rebounding battle tonight and they won the turnover battle tonight. And I think on a lot of nights, they're going to have to win those to correct for kind of other places.
I'd be interested what points in the paint were, if anyone can pull that up.
So I do know that Miami got to the rim 36% of their offensive possessions as opposed to Sacramento's 30, which is, I think, just big time for them. I think just winning that battle, just getting to the rim, I think is huge. The half court, I thought they were decent, not as great. I thought they were good when they were kind of in giddy up mode with Kyle. 125 points per 100 possessions. The offense wasn't the best today, but I love the process of everything that they did. And it's to understand you're missing your best player. Your offense is never going to, especially the shooters missed so many open looks. I thought that was the other part of it that, Gabe missed some gimmies. Max, Duncan missed like 3. The one, the offensive rebound to the other one, I was so sure that second one was going in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're good on that end. Tiff, last thing before we go, mechanic Dwayne Dedman played really well today. And I think the last few games, he's looked like a real backup center again, which I think is pretty big for them because obviously Jovic didn't play tonight and Yurt is still with injury.
Right.
I think the fact if he can give them something without them dying, he was +1 in his minutes. That's
8 rebounds.
That's a fucking win.
Yep.
8 rebounds. Like if they don't die and they don't even have to like win the minutes. They just can't die. And I think he's. What'd you say, Bon?
I said 3 assists. That's some cherry.
That is.
Listen, that you don't account for.
I know. I agree.
Yeah.
How many points do we win by?
Shit. 3.
3? Hey.
Not a lot. 3.
Right.
Hey. There you go. Listen, the sad part is you're gonna have to play him either way. so take what you can get and run with it. What did he have? 1 moving screen tonight? That's a win.
That's a
Progress.
Win. That's a win.
What is that called?
Home whistle.
What is that called?
Growth.
I was gonna say home whistle, but yeah, that too. My man was sprinting to screen. Did you see that, Tiff?
Yeah.
He was hustling. He's
running.
like, I got it. I got one job, and I'm gonna fucking do it.
He gave us that flat-footed ass 3 a couple times. He gets off the floor like this much.
I asked y'all in the chat. Dedman got the green light.
Yeah.
Kinda. It's yellow.
Because he was.
It's like neon green. It's some green yellow.
I think he has. I think it's just good for them to have more shot diversity out of pick and roll with him. Because I think the offense gets a little stagnant, especially when, if it's him and Jimmy in the pick and roll, you can kind of sit under, like way under, because this motherfucker's not popping. And if Jimmy wants to take a pull up, whatever. Like I'd rather, because the thing with Jimmy is like, you don't want him. He might make it, but you don't want to foul him. Like that's the worst case scenario, I think, if you're the defense.
Right.
So I think that him kind of giving that diversity should green light it.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm good. Great game.
Who we got next? Indiana on Friday.
Ryan Spravero in chat says Ben Simmons calling Dedman for pointers. Ben doesn't need a mechanic. Man needs a therapist and God. He needs a lot. Hope Ben is okay. His back is bad, right? Is he hurt?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm just sad for the whole thing right now. Just sad.
Yeah, it was.
Brooklyn and ice.
I'm just they literally should just pick up Brooklyn, unplug it, plug it back in,
put it in rice, blow
on it, tap it,
tap the T.
Maybe like those fine Dyson attachments, like kind of make sure that you get everything.
I'm sad because like for the NBA in itself.
Yeah.
Like it's just an eyesore. It's literally like Lord of the Rings. You just walk in and you just seeing shit just happening. Your feet muddy. You see goblins and hoblins.
They've become the
I
Sixers.
made up hoblins. I made up hoblins.
I've never seen Lord of the Rings, so I was just going with it. I don't know what's there.
nodding. She was nodding.
I was gonna let you go with it.
Yeah.
Yep, those.
Yeah.
See those too.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
I'm familiar.
That's it, G. That was the hard out.